Episode of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. I'm your host, Lois Kofi, transformational coach and plant medicine woman. Excited to have you learn today to be inspired and equipped on how to live your best health, your best wealth, by trusting that best innate wisdom that lies within. We'll be talking about psychedelics, microdosing, spirituality, shamanism, inner child healing, trauma release, and so much more. Grab a cup of coffee, enjoy, tune in, invite a friend. We look forward to serving you. Well, all right. Happy almost summer solstice again. One more day. The countdown is probably still happening for many of you. My name is Lois Kofi. I'm a plant medicine woman, spiritual teacher, and just someone who's really excited about this topic today. Today, I'm going to be talking about anger and what I have learned from this emotion, also known as sacred rage, and how I learned it. For you see, I believe a lot of us have been taught that anger is unhealthy, that it's got to be repressed, shut it down, right? Got to be a good girl, got to be a good boy, got to be just really just happy and put on a smiling face at all times. And I didn't know until I started the deep healing path of studying trauma release, studying somatic therapy, studying how our bodies keep the score. Having had a background in health and fitness, I understood dis-ease differently. I had manifested an autoimmune disease in my throat. I believed, it just runs in the family, Lois. It just runs in the family, and this is something that you'll have for the rest of your life. But when I started doing deep dive work with sacred plants like psilocybin, ayahuasca, wachuma, which I'm going to talk about today, I don't talk much about that medicine. I realized that there's so much stuck inside of our hearts, inside of our gut brain, inside of our organs. There was a true story about a liver transplant where someone needed a liver. This woman was grateful to get the liver that she got. However, she noticed shortly after she received the liver, she had been a fairly healthy person, just had a bad liver. And after the surgery, all of a sudden, she started craving beer and Cheetos and unhealthy foods. And that liver that she got actually, believe it or not, came from an alcoholic, someone who is also very unhealthy. And so who knew, right? Someone else's liver organ was impacting her. So what is your body holding on to? Well, one of the things that I discovered on my path to healing, recognizing that I had my own version of depression. I was never diagnosed clinically, mostly because I didn't want to go to the medical doctors. I wanted to find a holistic path. Okay, that was just my choice. Everybody's got to have their own path. And having grown up with mental illness in my family, schizophrenia, all that kind of stuff, I knew that path was a dangerous one, a slippery one. And so by going inward with the sacred plants, I had an experience during a ceremony that shocked me, that really caused me to pause. For you see, I had turned to plant medicine to better understand my relationship, addiction to alcohol, better understand why my mind was so busy, go all the time. Why did I have this tendency towards social media addiction? Why did I have this tendency towards working too much and a lot of too much dependency on external things, right? And so by going inward in a ceremony with Wachuma, also known as San Pedro, I had a situation where I was actually, my body was thrown down to the ground, and I had these images of my grandfather, my father, and I had like this energetic release of kind of heavy energy. And I didn't understand it. And then yet later during the ceremony, there was a time where the facilitator, she saw my distress, and she actually asked me if I needed to scream. And I was like, wait, what? And she took me outside, and she was trying to help me vocalize, to emote, to release stuck energy in my body. And it was very telling, because that day I couldn't vocalize. I couldn't scream. And that's when I recognized, well, wait a minute, our throat is where we scream, where we yell, where we sing, where we speak. And I have an autoimmune disease in my throat. And then I couldn't scream. I had another session with a ketamine therapist, and I went under, and all of a sudden I screamed, I wailed, I cried, I emoted, and it was like it unlocked something. And I won't go into all the details because there's a lot more. But the moral of the story was I recognized that I had manifested this disease in my throat because I was afraid to allow things like that anger, rage to come through. That was the medicine that had opened me up. Then, in working with different types of therapists and trauma release experts and studying the wisdom of trauma, the wisdom of this dis-ease that I was choosing to carry in this body in this lifetime, because I do believe our diseases are a choice, something that we chose to come in and learn as a karmic lesson and a path. And guess what? If we don't learn them in this lifetime, if we don't physically release and manifest healing and transformation, number one, it could kill us. Number two, it could really hurt our lives and our relationships, our finances, and everything, not just our health. Number three, we could die with it. Kind of big, right? And so what I discovered from that was, why was I so scared to yell, to scream? Why couldn't I allow myself permission to be seen, be heard, and to let that go? And it wouldn't actually be until, over a year later, and lots of processing, lots of releasing. That actually helped kick off almost 30 pounds of weight loss, through that process. I physically released a lot. I purged a lot. And it didn't come until about a year later where all of a sudden I just had like a somatic release, just one day, without any kind of medicine, without anything, just an event, a moment. And I had what my teachers told me later was a sacred rage event, where I just got so angry, like Jesus in the temples. If you ever heard that story, just like rage, the curtain tore. I feel like I could probably have like set the house on fire, like not literally, I didn't do anything, but I was like so filled, like my whole body was having this release. And at that time, unfortunately, I didn't know what to do with that other than shut myself in my bedroom, be really, really still, read, do some deep breathing. I had a few tools already, thanks to my plant medicine experiences, the teachers, the healers, the somatic releases that I had already been doing for a whole year now. But I asked this experience, the sacred rage experience, what are you teaching me? And it was reminding me that a lot of studies have shown that underneath depression, there's trapped trauma. And a lot of that is trapped anger from childhood events, from adult events, from life events, could be any time that we repress. We say, you know what, I'm not going there because anger is bad. But then guess what? It helped me manifest an autoimmune disease, and it helped me manifest codependency to alcohol, work, social media, right? So was that really worth it? That's my question to myself. And so what that helped me do last fall, I started recognizing that anger and letting it out in a healthy way is priceless. It's worth gold. It's a sign. It's a teacher. Emotions can be such great teachers if we have support. First of all, I couldn't have done any of that alone. And if we slow down and be more still. I believe that anger came up because I had set myself up for a whole year of meditation. I started meditating every day and processing and releasing things. I started doing breath work and processing, releasing things. I started journaling and processing and releasing things. I started Kundalini yoga and processing and releasing things, right? And so now when it happens, I can even get out my drum. I intentionally vocalize, because for me, I start feeling it like an intense energy. Some people will call it anxiety. I would say look underneath that and see what it might be. If you have depression, look underneath that and see what that might be. And I will say, for me personally, sacred plant medicine has helped me bring to the surface these awarenesses. And this is also why I'm a big advocate where I don't believe anyone should be doing plant medicine on their own, unless you've been trained. I don't even do it on my own per se. I have teachers, I have guidance, I have shamans, I have the right teachers for me. I had to go through a few not so right ones, right? That's all part of the learning process. But if you are feeling depression, if you are struggling with codependency on people, places, or things, if you are struggling with social media addiction, if you are struggling with this energy inside of you that you just don't know what to do with right now, it might be anger that's trying to show itself, that's trying to release itself. And I got to tell you, righteous anger, otherwise known as sacred rage, is so empowering, because guess what? On the other side of that, once you can release the connection, maybe the trauma, the somatic part of it actually energetically releases from your body mind, the creativity that can come from that, the compassion that can come from that, the love that can come from that, right? Some of the best businesses, some of the best things have come through finally releasing anger and coming on the other side with love and compassion, because that's all it wants. The anger wants to be seen, be heard, be felt, be appreciated, be realized. So instead of drinking over it, working over it, social mediaing over it, instead of any kind of shiny object syndrome you want to insert here over it, I invite you to reach out to me, reach out to someone that you trust, and have a conversation about this. Because I do believe anger causes many diseases, and it shuts us down from living our best life, our best health, our best wealth. It shuts us down from trusting our best wisdom, because that anger, that trauma that caused that anger has wisdom for you. There's gold in them, their hills. You just got to be willing, with guidance and support. I can't encourage that enough, to be able to look at it, to be able to sit with it, to be able to wrestle with it, to be able to be curious about it, and to be able to hold yourself through that. It's a muscle. It's no different than learning karate. I just took my son to karate class last night, and the teacher was talking about how you learn, there's practice, and you fail forward, and then there's the training and the awareness, and then you advance to another belt because you failed forward, you made mistakes, you learned from them, you took aligned action from them, and that all comes into the training, the building of the muscles, the building of the mind, the building of the body, and of course, the building of that spirit, that inspiration, that spirit within every one of us that's crying to be seen, be heard, be felt. And I truly actually believe that that is why we have anger. That is why we have these emotions that have been, taught to us that are so negative. And yet, how can you learn from them and turn them into, transmute them, transform them into beauty, bliss, love, and joy? Because every shadow has its light. Every light has its shadow. And so that's my wish for you today, is that you know that it's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel these emotions in a safe, sacred space. And if you choose to go the plant medicine path, there's more education that I can share with you in my microdosing and psychedelics 202 class. That's next week, Tuesday, the 27th. I invite you to check it out. I'm going to be talking more about the tools. I laid the foundation in my 101 class, so you can go to my website and watch that before coming to the 202 class. But we're going to talk about how, when the plant medicine shows you these things, What are the tools that can carry you through into that next level of love, compassion, blessing and releasing the anger, learning how to work with it, learning how to work with the depression, learning how to work with the emotions, and being able to have that emotional intelligence to carry you through. So I'll be sharing more of that for the first time in this class next week, Tuesday. And if you or someone you know and care about is struggling with anger and not knowing what to do with it and needing more tools and more support, more community, please hit the share button. Share with your community. My hope is to help over 1,000 people this year find and create their best health, find and create their best wealth, truly through healing, through the inner wisdom, through the wisdom of trauma, through the wisdom of grief, through the wisdom of anger, through the wisdom of these dark nights of the soul, emotions that are coming up for us now, whether you like it or not, it's happening. Maybe you've felt it, maybe you've sensed it, maybe it keeps happening over and over again, trying to get your attention. Say, hey, you got to take care of this. You got to take a look at this. You can't push me away any longer. I believe that's what the age of Aquarius is asking of all of us. If you're meant to wake up and live your best life, I truly believe this is your opportunity. Your time is now to be fully whole and complete. And yes, part of that is looking at the messy stuff, such as anger. So I hope this was inspiring today. Comment below. Let me know what you liked best. Subscribe, leave a review. I appreciate you guys tuning in so much. Know that you are loved. And until my next episode, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.